Hey guys, welcome back to Naturally Page. It's Wifey Wednesdays. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why I respect my husband and how I maintain his dignity both at home and in public. But before we dive in, I'm going to ask that if you're new here, make sure that you subscribe. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of the book Love and Respect. It's basically a book that speaks to the fact that while women crave love, it's actually respect that men crave more than anything else. And this one really came out in our charge at our wedding ceremony. Our pastor spoke to us and he basically was saying that, whatever happens, guys, make sure that you maintain each other's dignity. And for me, it was really profound that he wasn't talking to us about, oh, love each other till the end of time or make sure that you guys are always communicating. His thing was maintain your partner's dignity. Now, what did that look like to me? I'll give an example. Shortly after Marcus and I got married, I randomly commented to my mom about the fact that Marcus seemed to eat more than I expected, so I had to buy more food or buy more meat than I had been expecting that I had planned out. Now in my head I was just kind of saying it to my mom, but she actually ended up bringing it up in front of someone else and it became like this is a joke, and instantly what came back to me was maintain your husband's dignity. Now that may look like something really small, but what it is that I recognized and I was convicted of the fact that in public I had kind of said something that shed my husband in a bad light. Did I mean to do it? No, but that's actually what happened. Now the thing is, we as wives, we have to be very careful. It's very easy that if our husbands do something that we don't necessarily like or that upset us, we are very quick to go outside of our marriage and talk to our friends, our girlfriends, our moms, even sometimes his friends, and what ends up happening is that we paint our husbands in a bad light in the eyes of someone else. And so even though we may end up forgiving him and we move past it, they always hold that image and that perception of our husband. And that's what I think my pastor meant by he's saying, maintain each other's dignity. It means basically that whatever we put forward to the world about our husband or about our spouse is something that is beneficial to them. It's something that lifts them up in the light of other persons, right? It's not something that's going to tear down their reputation. It's not something that is going to put them in a bad light or make them seem like a bad person. No, you're not trying to portray something false to say that the person is perfect. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a deliberate attempt to make sure that you do not put your husband in a bad light in public. Why do I say this? There's nothing that hurts more than a man hearing something that his wife said about him to someone else, especially if she hasn't spoken about it with him. It's the worst thing to a man. Why? Because it means you don't respect him. You don't respect him enough to, one, come to him and talk to him about it, but also because you don't respect him enough to not put him in a bad light in public. Guys in general, they have an ego, right? And when you bruise that ego, when you destroy that ego, when you tear it down, when you tear that man down, you are literally stripping him of his masculinity. We can say whatever we want to say about being a feminist and about, oh, he should be okay and he should be tough or whatever. No. We have to make sure that we are protecting our husband's image. We have to make sure that we are protecting who he is as a man and who the world sees him as. And the last thing you want to be doing is to be the reason why people are seeing him in a bad way. You don't want that his character is going to be questioned because of something you said, right? It's so important that we ensure as wives that we are building up our husbands, that we are speaking well of them, that we praise them, and that we say, he's a good man, that he's good to me, that this is what he does right. Is this to say that sometimes we may not fall and accidentally talk? Yeah, that may happen. But if we are purposeful about it and if we make sure that we are constantly checking ourselves to say, you know what, Paige, maybe you shouldn't have said that. That wasn't okay. I remember once I said something to Marcus and he said, do you hear how you just spoke to me? And it wasn't in a way like a bad, it was just like I could see the hurt in his eyes because I had disrespected him. I had disrespected him. More than anything, that's what hurt him. I was disrespectful in my tone and in my words and what I said to him. Men need respect from their wives. It's not an if, but, or maybe. And if you want to argue and say, he needs to earn my respect, that's not quite how it goes. We are called as women and as wives to respect our husbands. No, you can argue with me all you want about this. I am not just pulling this out of my head. This is something that is based in scripture. I'm going to read for you Ephesians 5 verse 33. However, each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. Do you notice that? It's telling us that what we the wives crave is what our husband must do. He must love us as he loves himself. But what is the wife called to do? Not love and dote on him and spoil him, but we are called to respect our husband. I remember I went to a bridal shower recently, and the advice that I shared was that she should always respect her husband, even if he doesn't necessarily deserve it in that moment. And I remember the rest of the person at the show were like, no sir, you can't do that. Yo, he needs to earn that. And I was just like, When you become a wife, you have to understand that you are called to respect your husband, even if his behavior does not deserve it. We may not like it, but it's what we're called to do. Now, why do I say this? Are we respecting our husband because of him, or respecting our husband because it's something that God has instructed us to do? That is the key. When we respect our husbands, we are honoring God. That is what we are doing. We are being obedient to what God has stipulated for a wife in marriage. So how can we honor and respect our husband? Here are some practical tips for honoring and respecting your husband. Affirm him. If he does something good, tell him. Let him know, babe, that was awesome. Or, thank you so much, honey, for doing this. You did this so well. One of the things that I love to affirm Marcus in is his ability to cook. He's an amazing cook. So anytime he does it, it could be the simplest thing. Babe, that was awesome. 2, stop and listen to what he's saying. As wives, we tend to get really busy. We're busy taking care of the house, taking care of the kids. We're busy. And he's trying to talk to us, and we are just doing some and we are not even listening. Stop what you're doing, look at him and listen to him. I guarantee you, a lot of the times when we say that our husbands don't talk to us, it's because we don't listen. And so they just say, yo, she's not gonna listen to me anyway, so why am I gonna bother to talk to her? And right there we have a breakdown of communication. The next thing I want to talk about is something that is so prominent in many marriages and relationships. Stop nagging and criticizing him. This is one of the hardest things that we as women have to do. I know it's hard because personally I find that if there's something I want done a particular way and he doesn't do it, suddenly I'm finding fault. Especially now that we have a child. We do things differently. And so what will end up happening is I'll be like, don't beat him like that, or don't sing to him, no, and I'll do like, and you almost want to nitpick everything that he's doing. Stop. Don't find fault. Avoid nitpicking and nagging him and complaining about everything that he's doing. Allow him to do things his way, right? Yes, you can have a preference, so when you're doing it, do it that way. If he's doing it, just say, babe, thank you so much for doing this. Simple like that. I know that sometimes it's like you want to correct him, but that is not necessarily the time. What I find works best is that if after the situation passes, you said to him, you know what, babe, you were doing this the other day and I kind of feel as though maybe if you do it this way, it probably would have turned out a little bit better, or I find that when we do it this way, we have a better result. That way, you're not in the moment of finding fault with what he's doing, but you're positively saying, you know, this is how we can do it. I've found that this is a better way to do it. It comes across a lot better than saying, you're not doing that right, stop, like, oh my God, no bother, I'll just do it. And we'd love to do that too. No bother, I'll just do it. And automatically he feels deflated in his own home. Not okay. We have to allow him to do things and to let him make the mistake if so be it. And there's also a place for us recognizing that maybe our way isn't the best way after. As wives, we are also called to respect our husband's decision and his role as head of the household. This is what God has mandated. The hierarchy that God has put in place is God, husband, wife, children. There's a reason for that. We are under our husband's covering because he's under Christ's covering. As a result of that, we have to be willing to accept the decisions that our husband makes for our household. Does that mean that we always have to agree with them? No. But we hope that our husbands will honor our opinions, take them into consideration, but at the end of the day, we have to go forth with what our husband has decided. I know this is not a popular opinion, but I have found personally in my home that when I honor my husband's decisions and I respect his decisions, and I not only just say that, but I also show that in my actions, it allows our home to flow in a lot better harmony. Because I know that he values my opinion. So if I say to him, Marcus, this really doesn't sit well with me, He takes that into consideration before he makes a decision. But even if I disagree with his decision, I honor him by standing by him and supporting him in that. My brother-in-law tells the story of how when he used to get beaten, his mom always stood by his dad's side. And what he didn't know was that his mom used to stand behind his dad and hold his shirt tail and be like, stop, when she thought he had gone too far. But in front of their children, it looks like a united front. She was supporting him, but there were times where she would just pull him to say it's time to stop. But her kids never saw that. What did that put forward to her children? It let them know that mom and dad are a team. That mom honors dad and respects him and stands by him in whatever he is doing. But it doesn't change the fact that behind the scenes, there was a mutual discussion and agreement between mom and dad. That is what we should aim for as wives. A huge way that we can respect our husbands and maintain his dignity is not compare him to other men. The last thing you want to say is, look man, Ashley husband do X, Y, Z. Why you can't do that? Why you have to be so bad? Why you have to be this? What? Ooh. Nothing no worse than comparing your man to a next man. Yeah? You know what he'll tell you one day? Go be with him then. You don't want that. You don't want to make your husband feel as though he's less than, or that he has to live up to some expectation. And alright, sometimes it's easy for us to say that and to, say, no, I would never do that. But how many of us compare our husbands to our fathers? How many of us hold our husband to our father's standards? Now, this is not to say that we must drop our standards and not have any standards at all. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we cannot verbalize and we cannot put our husband into a box to say, you need to fit into what my father did for me all these years. He's not your father. He may have some character traits, yes, but he's not your dad. You did not marry your father and don't expect him to be your father. In his house, he is the man. He is the father. He is the husband. That is who should be the epitome of who you esteem and who you hold in high regard. You can also respect your husband by giving him the space and time to do things on his own. Giving him the space and time to maintain his hobbies and his loves. To hang with him brethren without you calling and saying, where you there? Oh, and don't even get me started on tracking him. Ladies, let's not do it. Respect your husband. Respect his right to privacy and his right to space. He needs time. He needs time to just go away and be a man. He needs time to just chill out without us having stuff for him to do. Give him the time. And while he's out doing his thing, while he's out having his time to himself, don't call him every 5 seconds. Like, just call him if it's an emergency. Give him the opportunity and the space to know, say, yo, she respect the fact, say, yo, I'm going to chill with my brethren. Every Friday night she know that I'm going to go chill with my brethren, and it's not a problem. We don't expect our husbands to be out every night. That's not okay. And that is, if that's happening, then we need to have a discussion. But if he wants to do something once a week, God, must he give the man the 2 hours alone? Give it to him. Give it to him. I have had to struggle with the next one that I'm going to talk about, and it is respecting his stuff. So sometimes I'll be cleaning and I'll like want to throw it. So I'm like, he don't use this long time. Why do you want this? Lord, I must say, just take up space. And I ask, and he goes, can you leave it, please? And I'm just like, Jesus. So when we moved, he moved with this CD collection. And at first I was just like, he don't even listen to CDs. Like, his car doesn't even have a CD player. Why does he need to keep these CDs? Oh my goodness. So we had them and they started collecting dust. And I was just like, and I'm starting to like itch to throw them away, right? Just to make space. It's not in my personal space. It's not in a space where I use it, but I'm seeing it and I'm just like, I need to throw it away. Something says to me, Paige, ask him first. I ask him. And I find out that the reason he keeps these CDs is that a number of them are signed by the actual artist. Now look upon that. Now if I had just decided to dash it away and don't business or don't ask him, I would have not only been throwing away a memory he had, but also something that may actually have some value in the future. My point is, it's important to him. It doesn't need to be important to me. It's his stuff. Leave it alone. A huge one is giving him advance notice of events and stuff in your calendar. I am horrible at this one. I am working on it, and my husband will be like, it annoys him so much when I make plans for him and I don't tell him, and then I just kind of say it by the way. I'll just go, and then we'll have to go to so and so's party, and he's just like, excuse me. And I have gone ahead and planned an RSVP for him without even consulting him. I have scheduled him, and he's just kind of like, you could have told me, Paige. I am very guilty of this. Baby, I know, I'm so sorry, I'm working on it. We have to respect our husband's time and his need to be involved in plans. We can't just make a plan and say, this is where we're going, and expect him to just, how is that respecting him? How is that allowing him to have a say in his own life? He has just as much right to have a say in what your family schedule should look like. Always, always, always try and be interested in some of his hobbies. Marcus has a thing for watching YouTube videos about cars and watches, and I'm just kind of like, oh goodness, I really don't like or enjoy it a lot, but I sit and I watch them with him. Why? Because it matters to him. I know that he enjoys that stuff, and I've actually learned a lot. Is it something I'll pick up and do on my own? No. But does it make him feel good to know that his wife is willing to sit and watch something that he's interested in? Of course it does. And it also helps when you want him to watch something with you that he's not interested in. This is a big one. Defend him if someone else speaks negatively about him, even if he's wrong. Why do I say this? Just let's imagine somebody says something bad about your husband. Even if you know that what they're saying is true, you have a responsibility to defend your husband. You have a responsibility to say, don't talk about him like that. You're not necessarily condoning what he has done, but you can say, I'm going to ask you to respect my husband and not speak about him in that way in front of me. They can talk about him all they want behind your back, whatever, but don't you dare do it to my face. There's no way I'm going to stand up and let somebody badmouth Marcus in front of me and I don't say stop. That is not my husband. My husband is a good man. What that will speak volumes to the person is that, one, there's no way that it is okay for them to talk bad about him in front of you. And two, it will let them pause before they even talk bad about him to somebody else. We all know that men are very visual beings. So part of our respect is also saying, you know what? I'm going to respect my husband in the bedroom. I'm going to make sure that he feels loved. I'm going to make sure that he feels respected and he feels like he's the king of our room. Because yes, he is. He is my king. And so I'm going to let him know how much I enjoy touching him, how much I enjoy being with him, and how much he makes me feel good. We cannot be quiet. If he does good, say, babe, that was awesome. That was phenomenal. Yeah, man, that is, you saw me out. That is how we are supposed to affirm him in the bedroom. That's important. Let the man know that he made you feel good. That builds him up. It makes him feel like a man. And that is so important in your marriage, for him to feel like a man. Now, I know I haven't exhausted all the ways that we can respect our husbands, but I hope that if you are a wife who you are struggling to find ways to respect your husband, that this will help you so that we can be purposeful about respecting our husbands in our marriage and building our marriage. We want our marriages to succeed. So let's put some effort into it. It's not just gonna happen. It takes work. But I guarantee you, if you take the time to respect your husband, you're gonna find that how he reciprocates it is with the love that you've been craving from him. You're gonna find that all of a sudden, he's gonna be more in tune with what you need from him. He's gonna be more affectionate. He's gonna reach for you more. Why? Because you've given him the respect that he yearns for. I pray and hope that this will pour into your marriage and that you will see the benefits of respecting your husband. I pray and hope that even if you are struggling in a situation where your husband may not deserve the respect, that you will still find a way to give it to him and that the Lord will bless your marriage as a result of that. That's it for today's Wifey Wednesdays. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, please make sure that you comment, let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications.